1077 The Bronx.
1077 The Bronx, 1077thebronx.com, winner of 3 2026 Intercollegiate Broadcasting Systems Media Awards, Best On-Air Pledge Drive for our first ever Radiothon, Best Giveaway for Wake Up Riders Morning Bagel Run and Jewelry Spree. Hold on, there we go. And Best Station Poster by Jake Goebel for Scream Screen. This is your journey across the sports world, and my name is Joshua Uhas. Now, we will get into a couple of different things. This week we have a lot happening in all regards, really, because every sport has something going on. So we're going to cover all bases here today. So we're going to cover NBA and NHL. To start in the first segment, just all the playoffs, everything that's going on. Then what we'll do is we will look at... Whoopsie. Do that. We will look at the NFL draft in the middle segment, and then at the end we will talk for the rest of the time on a little bit of the MLB, but we will start in the basketball and hockey world. So let me pull those up, but for the Knicks, specifically, if we're to look at the local teams, they are in an interesting spot. They had a bad game 3 loss against the Hawks where the ending sequence was just not good at all. I mean, CJ McCollum was able to set up, get his mid-range shot, get an open one, knock it down in rhythm. And then on the other end, it was I think it was an air ball from Brunson or something. I'm trying to remember it entirely. I don't remember, but it was not a good end. And the Knicks ended up falling in that game and then able to bounce back yesterday. But that was a game they should have won, the game 3 situation. You should have won that game. You should not have been in this situation. And now you're playing an extended series, which, to be honest, when I was coming into this, I'm not too surprised about it. We'll zoom in a bit. I'm not too surprised about it at all. I knew the Hawks were going to be a tough team to play against, especially for the Knicks, where if you go back to Trae Young time, he was causing them immense problems, and the Hawks were a tough team for the Knicks to face, and then to get them in this matchup was a very tough draw for them. But the series tied at 2. We'll see how that ends up playing out, but we'll pull up the full bracket, and we'll start with... we'll go with the Western Conference, actually. So the Thunder and the Suns, when you look at them, the Thunder really just taking control of that series. Not anything too deep with them. Thunder's really dominating. Nothing much to it. I mean, Dylan Brooks is having some good games. Jalen Green having some good games. But for the most part, the Suns just don't have what it takes to match what the Thunder are able to do. And you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 42 points in a 121-109 win. Up 3-0. Really no signs that the Suns are going to compete. So that one really, it's kind of settled, I would figure. Then let's look at the Spurs and the Trailblazers. They are playing right now. And when we look at this game, let me just pull it up regularly. So we have a couple games as well today. A couple Western Conference, 2 of those, and then 1 Eastern Conference game today. So looking at the Trailblazers and Spurs, Dylan Harper had a really, really good game in their last matchup, and that put the Spurs up 2-1, and also gave them a 120-108 victory, where it was 33 points from Stephon Castle paired with 27 points and 10 rebounds from Dylan Harper. And I loved Dylan Harper. I mean, I'm going to be biased with him because he is a Rutgers guard, and he was one of those big 5 stars that Rutgers was able to bring in, and unfortunately they didn't do very good with even with Harper and even with Ace Bailey. But despite that, they were able to. It's amazing they were even able to bring in the talent, but it is the NIL era. You can really bring in anyone. However, I'm really happy to see that he's thriving with the Spurs. Also, seeing Ron Harper Jr., also former Rutgers guard and part of that Ron Harper family. Just really successful family. However, we go back to the series. The Spurs up 2-1, but Wemby was not playing in that game, and I don't believe he's playing in the game right now. So no. So yeah, I mean, without Wemby, this whole playoffs, to be honest, has been very highly impacted by injuries. And you look at like the Timberwolves series, they're getting hit hard with some injuries. And it's just kind of a shame to see it happening because you want the best of the best out there. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it. And right now, Trailblazers lead 58-43. I am not too surprised that this series is pretty close. They have some good pieces with the Trailblazers. Now, it does surprise me a little bit, but Denny Advia's really took a step up, really leading this team. You have a veteran in Jeremy Grant. You have a veteran in Jrue Holiday. And that's the thing is that makes these teams where they're not projected and like not projected to win and also kind of that underdog is sometimes those teams have that veteran experience where it plays a factor when you get in the playoffs that they're able to guide their team around, guide their team through. And that's that like intangible thing that as a viewer, you don't exactly see it. However, you kind of get an understanding from just how the play ends up working out. Now, for the Spurs right now in this game, Wemby is playing, and the Trailblazers still lead. But Wemby so far, 19 minutes, 11 points, 1 of 4 from 3 though, so not hitting from the 3-point range like what Wembanyama can do. He does have 8 rebounds already. However, you go across his team. I mean, Devin Vassell only has 2. Julian Champagne has 8. And this is with about like 10 minutes left in the third quarter. It's still a lot of game to be played, but outscored 33-18 in that second quarter is not what the Spurs want. And that series might be pretty interesting as we keep going on. So we move forward, and then, lost sight. Then you have the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. This series has been really good. I'm not surprised. Timberwolves were a competitive team the last couple of years. Still have that same core where Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, all like the pieces there, but ended up not being the higher end seeds. But a very competitive team, and facing against the Nuggets, also a very storied, strong team to be able to compete against them. And Timberwolves really took command in that in this series. I mean, they had a dominant win against them with really incredible performances. I mean, Ayo Dosunmu, incredible. Just an incredible performance from him. And when you look across the rest of the team, I mean, Julius Randle's a strong piece. Jaden McDaniels is a strong piece. Now, they did lose Dante DiVincenzo, and that's kind of the biggest story is he's done with an Achilles injury. So that's a big loss for them. And, I mean, Rudy Gobert was able to pick up 15 rebounds in that win. There was also that kind of brawl at the end of the game. Kind of brawl, not really. It was more so just a little bit of frustration, kind of like a little shove. Because Jokic wasn't, like, he ran over, but really he wasn't going for anything. He was just trying to figure out. Now, is it a very blunt way of figuring out and a very unorthodox way of figuring out why Jaden McDaniels decided to kind of break the unwritten rule of basketball and just decide to score when basically he could have ran out the clock, which Jokic took exception to. However, it wasn't really, it was kind of built up to be more than what it was. I more saw it like Jokic. I mean, it's not the greatest way to go about it, but goes over, kind of grabs him a bit, and then it kind of just gets blown a little bit out of proportion. I mean, Julius Randle was pretty upset, although I think overall it was just kind of blown out of proportion. So, I mean, still kind of crazy, the Timberwolves taking advantage in that series. They're up 3-1, and then you move to this Lakers-Rockets series. Really incredible what they're able to do. The Lakers able to really take control of this series, and it was a big ending sequence where LeBron actually played the biggest part, because at the end of that game, it's a young Reed Shepherd with the ball. The Rockets have the lead. They just need to get it up the court, and the Lakers would have to foul them. But what ends up happening is Reed Shepherd gets it. He gets past LeBron because he gets LeBron moving to his right, but the veteran gets into a position, back taps him, gets the steal, and then on the other end is kind of struggling to corral it, knocks it over to, I think it was Kennard. Kennard passes it back to LeBron, who shoots the three to tie it. They go in overtime. The Lakers win it. So just really poised end of game sequences. Then that's where veterans really step up, and that's where having that poise, even though he doesn't have the physical capabilities to maybe stay on Reed Shepherd, keep his body on him, but knows that he can cycle around and maybe get that back tap for a steal instead of having to waste a foul. And even if it ended up being a foul, it still would be fine because they would have had to foul anyways. So really a win-win there, and the Lakers able to take really good control of this series against the Rockets, where I think like it's been kind of hard for the Rockets to get back into their role without Steven Adams, who was really helping them out. Now we move to the Eastern Conference. We talked about the Knicks and how that series ended up kind of playing out. Boston leads the Sixers 2-1, and I think they're for the most part fine. I think the Celtics kind of have control of it, but you never really know. I mean, the last game was close, 108-100, but Tatum, Brown, and all the old pieces really don't see a reason why they don't pull that out. The Cavs and Raptors, way tighter series than I thought it would be. I guess I just didn't give enough credit to the Raptors, but RJ Barrett doing a good job. Obviously, you have Scotty Barnes leading the charge, and I don't know. I wasn't as high on the Raptors, and I guess they're proving me wrong a little bit, so we'll have to see how that series plays out. I think that's an interesting one to follow along with, and it would be very interesting because the other matchup the matchup that they would face in the next round is the winner of the Magic and the Pistons. And right now, Orlando leads the series 2-1. And that was really, I believe this game was when Desmond Bane, 7 of 9 from 3, 25 points. Banchero, 25 points. And it's just well-rounded scoring across the team. I mean, 15 from Suggs, 14 from Wendell Carter, who had 17 boards. Banchero also had a double-double with 12 rebounds. Almost had a triple-double, was 1 assist away from that. So, like, Orlando's doing well. The Pistons, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Cade's still doing good, and then Tobias Harris had 23 in this game. But I don't really know what's going on with the Pistons. They're not really taking control of the series like I thought they would. Now, to be fair, Orlando, I don't want to discredit them. They've been a strong team the last couple of years. It's not like they're one of those like perennial like play-in teams where it's really they don't get a lot of credit. They have been a good team. It's just I'm surprised. I thought the Pistons being the 1 seed would really take control of it, but they never ended up doing it. Looking at the NHL playoffs, this one's not as deep as the other ones. The Senators have already been eliminated. Like Senators are already eliminated. The Hurricanes, I would not be surprised if they make it even to the Cup, but at least into the conference finals. That would not surprise me. The Avalanche really, I thought this was going to be a closer series. The Kings it's just not what I thought it would be. So Colorado leads 3-0 in that series. Stars and Wild 2-3 matchup. That really doesn't surprise me how tight that is. Series tied at 2. Wild made some big additions. Stars still one of those strongest teams. Continue to be one of the better ones. Utah has a 2-1 lead over the Golden Knights. Now, to be fair, the Golden Knights have gone through leadership changes going into the playoffs. So, obviously, it's a bit of an adjustment for them, but a good team. And the Mammoth, in their first season in Utah, doing a really good job. And then the Ducks leading the Oilers 2-1 in the series. It's not the first time we've seen the Oilers have some adversity in the first round. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Then we move to the Eastern Conference. Sabres 3-1 lead. They've just been an absolute freight train since they started on this hot streak in the middle of the regular season. Just unstoppable, and it seems like they might be able to not only break the drought, but grab a playoff series win, and that might be electric to see. Then you kind of move along, because I see we do have to go to underwriting. The Lightning trail the Canadiens 2-1 in that series. We have game 4. That is tonight. You have Penguins and Flyers. That game is tomorrow. And the Flyers up 3-1 in that series. And that was what I was talking about with Philadelphia, is because they were hot to end the season. Could they carry it into the playoffs? It seems like they're doing that. Up 3-1 over the Penguins, and a real prime chance tomorrow to take advantage and take the series. But we do have to go to underwriting announcements. So it's Build the Ultimate Bronkwich finale time. We've whittled down the Magnificent 7 to the Tasty 3, and now we're turning the decision over to you. Sample and vote for your favorite sandwich at the Build the Ultimate Bronkwich finale on Tuesday, April 28th, 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at Muller's Pub and Cranberries. Which Bronkwich will garner the most votes to become the new signature sandwich of Rider University? Will it be Jesse Doty's Hot Honey Chicken Pesto Grilled Cheese, or Caitlin Lawler's Chopped Unk, or Sergio Nino Vela's Lomito? Find out this Tuesday, April 28th at Cranberries and Muller's Pub. We will be back with more of your journey across the sports world after these underwriting announcements on your 3-time 2026 Intercollegiate Broadcasting Systems Media Award winner.
Health by listening to every episode of Vital Signs on our website at 1077thebronx.com/vital signs.
1077 The Bronx has very exciting news. Our new video stream is officially live. Now you can listen to The Bronx on air, online, and on app to now watch your favorite student shows live on The Bronx YouTube channel and Facebook at 1077 The Bronx, including What's Next Sports, Talk of the Town Sports, Bronx After Hours, The Concast, Cliff Notes, and Wake Up Rider. Keep it tuned to The Bronx to listen to and watch your favorite student shows. Welcome back to your journey across the sports world on your 5-time National Association of Broadcasters Marconi Radio Award-nominated station, 1077 The Bronx. So we kind of rushed through the NBA and NHL playoffs, still in their first rounds, so a lot to jam-pack into the first segment. So now we will move to a topic we have not talked about in a while, and that is the NFL, because we had the NFL draft. And we're going to go through, we'll look through the Jets, since, that's my team. We'll start with that first. We'll go to the Giants, we'll look at the Eagles, and then we'll kind of do as quick of a rundown through whatever the rest ends up talking about. So when we look at the Jets draft, they made 3 first-round selections, made 1 second-round selection, and they ended up making 2 fourth rounds, 6th, and a 7th. So when we look at this, starts out first big conversation. The Jets, with the number 2 pick, take David Bailey. And the consensus belief was that the Jets would take one of Arvell Reese or David Bailey. That was pretty much the feeling. A lot of people liked Arvell Reese better, so it was kind of surprising for a lot of people. But I guess the things that they were saying was that Bailey is a more ready for right now kind of pick, and Reese is one of those where you like more potential and stuff, more long-term strength than Bailey. And I think it's a fine pick. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fine. I was kind of in between on either, so I'll take it. Now, there were some people that weren't as high on him, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The second pick that they made was Kenyon Sadiq, the really athletic tight end from Oregon. And I think at least the vision that the Jets are going with there is to try and pair with Mason Taylor and try and make a dynamic tight end group where you can have 2 tight end sets where they're both weapons, and then hopefully you can develop Sadiq to also be able to block well, so that you're able to use him in blocking, just use him all around and really have these tight ends be more dynamic. And I guess I see the vision. I think the Jets are doing an interesting offseason plan where it's kind of like they're doing a build the team for the moment, for the right now, but just with what they're doing overall. And then actually let me do that. But overall, it seems like their decisions, like bringing in a Geno Smith and just what they're doing with a bunch of older guys just in their signings in general. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I really don't know what to say about the Jets offseason plan. It's not one of those years, and I'm almost happy about it, where usually the narrative with the Jets is like, oh, they win, between Jets fans, we win the offseason every year. We do really good in the offseason. On paper, it always seems really good. And this offseason, it doesn't feel like that. And honestly, I think I like that more, because now we're not putting, or at least I'm not putting, unrealistic expectations on this team. I don't think they are going to be fighting for the playoffs. I'm not high on Geno Smith. I never was. And it's not really a disrespect to him. He had a good year when he was with Seattle, but I thought he was a bit overrated in that year. And then obviously doesn't work well in Las Vegas, ends up now as a bridge quarterback for the Jets. And my expectations are not high on that, but that's fine. He's meant to be a bridge quarterback. And as long as he's able to stay healthy, take the starts, we'll see what they end up doing. Now, the curious thing is what they drafted later. So we'll actually come back to this conversation with the quarterback room. But we'll go back to the draft that the Jets had. They end up trading back into the first round and drafting Omar Cooper of Indiana. And I think that was a really good decision. Now, I think, again, you have to be careful with the narratives that are getting put out, because the assumption is like, oh, he'll jump right into the wide receiver 2 spot. Garrett's going to have an incredible year. You have to be careful, because you can't just assume that the rookie's going to come in and do great. Now, there's a chance he does. There's a chance he does come in, work alongside Garrett Wilson, get Garrett Wilson more open, give him more chances, and really work as a thriving wide receiver 2. It's certainly a possibility. And I would love if that were to happen, if Omar Cooper ends up coming into this offense, works as a true wide receiver 2 to Garrett Wilson, and really allows this offense to thrive maybe. But I don't really know. We'll never really know until we see it on the field. And we see countless times with the Jets, we talk a lot about, on paper, sometimes they seem like they'll be good, and then it just doesn't produce on the field. And then like a bunch of holes just appear, or someone gets hurt and they just clearly don't seem ready for it. I think now the management is at least trying to make sure that there's stability, where if someone goes down, you have someone. And they had A.D. Mitchell last year, and I think he worked as a wide receiver 3 last year with upside of being a receiver 2. And I think if you're able to have Cooper and Mitchell work together, kind of see who ends up building themselves up to that receiver 2 role, I think there's potential in that offense. And the problem is with the word potential, pretty much, because it gets tossed around a lot, and really it gets used as a crutch to assume that nothing will go bad. It's kind of used where it's like, it's bad, but there's potential to be good. And sometimes it limits us from saying, okay, it's just not good. Which I think in this case, I think there is the chance that it does work. And you have a dynamic offense where Gino's able to turn to Garrett Wilson, obviously as the lead, but have options behind where he could go to A.D. Mitchell, go to Omar Cooper, go to Kenyon Sadiq, maybe get Mason Taylor even more involved. I think there is that window, and I think the offensive line is solid. I wouldn't say perfect, but I'd say it's, compared to what the Jets have had, I think it's workable. I think you can survive with their offensive line. I think it's a solid group. They've played a lot of games together, and I think there's a good chance that they can keep that core, because you have Fashanu and Membu, both drafted the last 2 years. You have Tippmann also in that same kind of span. So you have young linemen that you can work with. And obviously they moved on from AVT, and we'll see, how the cycling of the offensive line works and everything. But I do like what they've done a little bit. I'm not the craziest, but I think they had a good draft. And as we move down these rounds, I think they were doing a good job of using late round picks to fill in, not assume they will jump right in, but leave them the chance that there is that window to jump right in and take a key role. And that's what you have to do with those late round picks. And I think they did a good job of finding those talents. In the second round, they took D'Angelo Pons, also from Indiana. So help that cornerback room out where you just signed Nashawn Wright. You added Minkah Fitzpatrick to the secondary. And obviously the new cornerback rooms without a DJ Reed or a Sauce Gardner. And really just trying to build an overall strong cornerback group. I think that's a good pick, and I like it. We'll see how it rotates around. And, the defense needs a lot of work, to be honest, especially stopping anything, really, to be honest. But stopping the run was something that they struggled with, and that's what they did with their 4th-round pick, taking Darrell Jackson Jr., just a big body to hopefully help with the run game. and we'll see if that plays out. That's the ideal scenario, but I mean, as I'm saying, there's no guarantee. It's all hypotheticals and potential. So then, back to the quarterback room, they drafted Cade Klubnik. Cade Klubnik. There we go. And the quarterback from Clemson, really strong was a really high-end in the draft before this year. He was projected to be one of the top quarterbacks, instead, like, fighting with what we'd eventually find to be Fernando Mendoza up there. But Klubnik was really expected to be up there, and then it just didn't work out. Now, who knows if that's because of Clemson or that's just because he's not good. But a 4th-round pick, they toss on him. Maybe they develop him. Maybe he's able to fill in to what the Jets thought they could have that project with Jordan Travis. Maybe Klubnik is just that replacement for that. Then in the 6th round, draft a guard, Anez Cooper of Miami, and then VJ Payne, a safety from Kansas State. So that's the Jets draft. That one is going to be the most in-depth just because that's my team. We move to the Giants, and they take the other edge rusher, and it kind of ends up being a steal. Arvell Reese falls to number 5. The Giants end up taking him there, and I think he really can fit in well to their pass rush and everything. I think he's a really, really strong prospect, and that defensive line for the Giants was supposed to be like incredible, just based on the on-paper stuff, and they still ended up being solid, but we'll end up seeing how it goes. Francis Mauigoa, to be honest, I did need to be more. I wasn't as deep into understanding this class as other classes. So it wasn't, I'm not the most knowledgeable on this draft particularly, and I have to figure out more about these prospects. But get a tackle, help that offensive line, and just try and make that offense workable for Jackson Dart and Cam Scatteraboo. Then Colton Hood, cornerback from Tennessee. Malachi Fields as a receiver out of Notre Dame. And then D-tackle, offensive tackle, and linebacker, where they end up going. Eagles, this was one of the big stories of the draft, was Mekhi Lemon, because the Steelers had called him to take him at 22. And what they did not know, or 21 or something, I forget the exact pick, but the Steelers had called Mekhi Lemon to say they're drafting him. Turns out, while that was happening, the Eagles were trying to call Lemon and tell him that they were trading up with the Cowboys, taking that spot, trading up in front of the Steelers to then take Mekhi Lemon. So that was an interesting dynamic. However, ends up going to the Eagles, take him in, especially with the rumors of A.J. Brown supposedly being on the move to the Patriots. We'll have to see, but Eagles already making that window, and they traded for Jonathan Grenard, I believe. Whoops. Nope, I did not finish typing. But yeah, they traded for Jonathan Grenard. Once again, the Eagles just able to grab talent in the trade market. Just incredible what they're able to do. But then in the 2nd round, they draft Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers, draft tackle North Dakota State's quarterback. Really the late end, fine. And then another storyline from the international player pathway program. They draft Uar Bernard, a 6'4", 306-pound defensive tackle who is part of the NFL's kind of plan to bring international talent into the league. And that was a really interesting story to follow. And he is, as his pre-draft analysis lists him on ESPN, he is projected most likely as a defensive tackle, just considering his size. They say raw technically, but has amazing athleticism, which is not surprising. If you're taking from an international program, you're really looking for that raw athleticism, and then you hope that your coaching staff could coach them up. And the Eagles have done a really good job on their coaching staff to coach people up. So very interesting. I mean, 7th round pick, compensatory pick, but we'll see. He ran the 40-yard in a around a 4.6 range, a vertical jump just a bit under 40, and a broad jump just under 11. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. Then we just look at the first round in general. Unsurprisingly, Fernando Mendoza goes number 1. I'm so shocked. You know, they trade away Geno, and you know there's a hole at their quarterback spot. I really wonder who they're gonna pick. Oh, what? It's Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner. But we'll have to see how he fits in. The Raiders had drafted Gentry last year, so they have a running back. They have the quarterback now. We'll see how that vision ends up playing out for the Raiders. Then the Jets picking at number 2. Cardinals take Jeremiah Love at number 3, and that instantly makes him one of the higher paid running backs just because of what you get for being drafted 3rd. And that's interesting. I wonder if it's because of the dynamic with James Conner and then your running backs that you have there. We'll have to see how the Cardinals end up playing their situation out. Then you have Carnell Tate to the Titans. It's surprising they didn't take Arvell Reese considering he fell to them, but they end up taking Carnell Tate, a solid receiver. Arvell Reese, then, as we talked about with the Giants, Chiefs end up trading up to 6 to take Mansour Delane from LSU. Sonny Styles, a very athletic linebacker, to the Commanders, and that should be a fun thing to... that'll be a fun one to follow. Jordan Tyson to the Saints. Spencer Fano, tackle, back-to-back tackles. And then one of the biggest sections of this draft, 11, 12, and 13, you see Caleb Downs fall all the way to the Cowboys, where we thought he was going to go 5. A lot of people thought he was going to go 5 to the Giants. The Giants would draft a safety. They didn't. And Malik Neighbors talked about it on some watch-along or podcast or something about Caleb Downs and like having to play him again. And he talked very highly of him, extremely highly of Caleb Downs. And he was a really strong player for Ohio State. And he will go to the Cowboys. Really, a really good pick for the Cowboys to fall right into their laps. Caden Proctor to the Dolphins, considered one of the better tackles in this draft. And then the Rams, this is another storyline that went down, is Sean McVay was not happy with this pick. It seems like management and McVay had 2 different visions for the team, and we see it here kind of play out. Ty Simpson drafted to the Rams as that kind of plan to follow up Matthew Stafford for when he ends up retiring. But it seems like McVay was not happy. It seemed like he preferred Stetson to be to remain that backup or something. I'm not sure, but that's how that ends up playing out. Ruben Bain, if you watched his walkout, he was not happy about falling to 15, and honestly, I don't blame him. I mean, falling down in the draft, you lose a lot of money, a lot of just everything. So he's going to have a chip on his shoulder when he is with Tampa Bay. They've had a good history with edge rushers and pass rushers. So we will have to see that one, but was ranked very highly, falls to 15, and we'll see how that ends up playing out. And then nothing too crazy across the rest of the first round, at least to my understanding. So that is about it. Actually, who's Mr. Irrelevant again? Right. Red Murdoch, a linebacker from Buffalo. So, never know. Set an NCAA record with 17 forced fumbles in his career. So you never know. Obviously, UDFAs are always a big talk. I'm not too familiar on those. Ethan Kaliakmanis did get drafted, quarterback for Rutgers. So, hey, you never know. Another 7th rounder for Rutgers. I mean, Pacheco, 7th round running back, ended up being really productive for the Chiefs in that early part. Monungai, really strong for the Bears to start. So you never know. Never know with these Rutgers guys. And I like Rutgers because that's my football team since we don't have a football team here. So I like seeing those. But overall, a interesting draft. Not insane, but still storylines to talk about. But we do have to go to underwriting announcements. So, jeez, whoopsie. Where did my liner go? Mornings are always better when you tune into 107.7 The Bronx, two-time IBS Media Award-winning Best Morning Show Wake Up Rider. Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Join Sophia, RJ, Ellis, Brian, Lathan, Brandon, and Sheer for 2 hours of fun and games, including the Monday Morning Hangover, underwritten by McGuinn's Place, and an all-new Morning Bagel Run and Jewelry Spree, underwritten by Caesar's Bagel and Deli, and Peroni's Hidden Treasures in Mercerville. Go to 1077thebronx.com/wakeuprider to listen live on air, online, on app to catch up on past episodes. We'll be back with more of your journey across the sports world after these underwriting announcements. While you're waiting for the return of my show, Princeton Reviews number 18, Best College Radio Station, 1077 The Bronx. So we've covered the NBA and NHL playoffs. We've covered the NFL draft a bit. So now we will talk a little bit about the MLB. Just across the standings, I mean, looking at it, the Yankees sit atop the AL East at 18-10, a game and a half above the Rays. Other than that, the Orioles, Blue Jays, and Red Sox below 500, and particularly with the Red Sox, not a great start for them. They fire Alex Cora, and since then it's been kind of a bit chaotic in terms of what's going on with the Red Sox operations. Players have expressed how they feel about it, and it's interesting. It's not the greatest response to it. You look at the AL Central, kind of typical AL Central stuff. The top is 15-14 for the Guardians and Tigers. I mean, the Twins are 12-16 and 2.5 games out. It's just the AL Central. That's just how they are. And then you look at the AL West. The A's sit atop of it, and same dynamic. Not very good. Not the usual, because it used to be the Astros kind of running the top of it, but the Astros aren't good anymore. So they sit at the bottom of that division. The Angels, 12-16. I mean, they just never change. But at least Trout, at least we get to see Trout. Mariners, about 500. I mean, this division can really change because it's all within a game and a half. I mean, even the AL Central can change a lot. The AL East so far kind of have a good gauge on it. The Braves started incredibly. Today, Chris Sale had, how many strikeouts did he end at? I know he was at like 9 strikeouts through 5. And he ended with 9 strikeouts. Only gave up 1 hit. 6 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Like Chris Sale, really, really good in the late stages of his career. And this offense is working. Acuna and Drake Baldwin at the top of the lineup, hitting well. Matt Olson able to bring in some RBIs. And then guys who can just hit the right guys at the right moment. A Jorge Mateo, a Mauricio Dubon. Austin Riley really has not figured out. Michael Harris is kind of getting back to his usual. And the Phillies, once again, bats are staying cold. Like, incredibly cold. The only hits for them were Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber. And yeah, I mean, that's just not going to cut it. You need more. You need more from that offense. It's just not showing up. Nola also giving up 6 earned and 4 2/3. Just not what the Phillies want. They start the season 9-19 and just really cannot figure it out. The Mets, they end up falling in the first game of 2 against the Rockies today, and already they lost 3-1 against the Rockies in the first game of a doubleheader. Hey, King Julian, 2 hits. Let's go. Anyways, but like Mickey Moniak has been raking for them, and that's been, I mean, to be fair, you look at his splits, very strong at home, and Anne Marie, Mets fan, is in here now. Yeah, the Mets not doing too strong right now.
Talking about my Mets.
I am talking about your Mets. Actually, this is the first time I've had some other voice on the show.
Hi. Yeah, I just appeared.
So first time, first guest. Unfortunately, my camera. Like when I try to switch the camera, it kind of like fades.
I don't need to be on the camera.
No, I know.
The Mets are the best team in the MLB. They are amazing, guys. Remember the 2024 season?
You want to explain why they're down 3-0 right now to the Rockies?
Remember the 2025 season? Not the 2024 season. We were doing so terrible. We were however many games down from 500, under 500, and look where we ended up in the NLCS. So you never know what could happen. We might be terrible right now, but it's only up from here.
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching it the first game with Nolan. Like we were watching it on his laptop, and it was like they had the bases loaded, and then he was so like it was like when Vientos struck out.
I didn't get to watch the game because I was at softball, but I was getting the notifications, and I was like,
yeah, they had bases loaded in the 8th, and then didn't come through. Yeah. But yeah, it's a rough patch for the Mets, the Phillies.
They're gonna come back though. I mean, my thing is, it's only April. We are literally exactly a month into the season, I think, because I think opening day was March 26th, right?
I believe so.
Let's see if my ball knowledge is correct. No, that's spring training. Spring training.
Yes, the
Yeah.
26th.
So we are literally 1 month into the season. It is only April.
And teams have hot and cold
There
streaks,
is
I will say.
140 or 130 something games left to play.
Yeah, and it's like
Like-
you look at the Central, like these teams, we've seen the Pirates get hot to start seasons fall off. We've seen teams that start extremely cold get hot. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
only
mean, the
been a
Mets in
month.
2024.
Yeah, I mean, like any team could do anything. I mean, we see the Yankees all the time. They get hot to start, get cold for the summer.
You also
then
never
be at
know.
the top.
You never know what mid-season trades are gonna happen. You never know what could happen. So my thing is, it's only April. I'm optimistic. As a Mets fan, I know I shouldn't be because they love to fail me, but I'm optimistic, and that's all. I'm done crashing your show.
know what?
Continue with your.
I mean, at least you can be optimistic. That's good, especially for like two local teams to be 9-18 and 9-19.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a deep hole to have to build yourself out of. It's not undone. We've seen it across a couple seasons where you can get extremely hot. I mean, if you look even at a different sport, but you look at the Sabres, what they were doing, we were talking about with the NHL, they were not doing great to start, and then they were doing extremely hot. They're up in the series, 1 game away from advancing to the next round.
Dude, that's gonna be crazy. Low key, go Sabres. Actually, no, I'm rooting for the Hurricanes in the playoffs, but that's another topic.
Okay, get out of here. Rooting for the Hurricanes.
I used to live in North Carolina. I'm biased.
All right.
I love the Hurricanes.
They
They were the first team I ever saw play.
I mean, that's fair. Just what they do to the Devils and all
Well,
the
I
New
hate
York
the
teams.
Devils, so-
Like, yeah, well, I know because you're a Rangers. You're a Rangers fan, which that's a whole different thing. But looks like we do have to go. It is 6:00.
My bad. I did crash your show for a little bit.
No, I love it.
Let's see. Yankees 18-10. Boo. They're gonna end up losing. They're gonna choke in the playoffs.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh. Never would
Yeah.
happen.
Go Red Sox.
They did lose today, though. They lost 7-4. Okay, all right. No, that I will not accept. I will not accept that. We do not accept blasphemy in this studio. We do not accept that. The only person that can say that is maybe Alfie. That's it. I'll allow it from Alfie, but that's about it. But that is all we have for you. So thank you for listening to The Journey Across the Sports World. We'll be back next Sunday at 5 p.m. So stay tuned for more of the biggest hits and best variety on the Princeton Review's number 18 Best College Radio Station, 3-time 2026 IBS Media Award winner, and 5-time NAB Marconi Radio Award nominee for College Radio Station of the Year, 107.7 The Bronx.
You're stepping into the ring with 107.7 The Bronx, WRRC-FM, straight out of Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Like that one boxer said, hit like the Bronx and move with variety.